So, what does a man called August Spies have to do with the third degree? Hmm. Hey, everybody, welcome to the G. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-I-S, G-I-N-A. This is where we read book, talk about books. Nothing special going on here. I'm thinking about doing Flashback Mondays. Let me know if you're interested. I was having a really good time with those, but nobody was watching. So I'm trying to decide. And it took a lot of time. It took hours to do that video. Hours of running around the house trying to find all the books. Because they're in sections in alphabetical order. That's paranormal, there's Regency, there's mystery, they're all over. But anyways, today we are talking about this itty bitty book. It's really small. James Patterson, The Third Degree. And we have a couple of important developments that I didn't remember. And I'm trying to figure out who the new person is, but I haven't looked at the fourth yet. I think Fourth Horseman? I'll have to look. So I'm trying to figure out why Patterson chose this particular link. So we've got a couple of new developments. And let me see if I can say Lindsay Boxer is now a lieutenant in the San Francisco Police Department. And one of the biggest things that bothers me about the series is the fact that her bosses don't support her the way Eve Dallas's bosses support her in J.D. Robb's books. Whitney always consults with Eve first about Homeland, informs her immediately about Homeland or the FFO, HSO, or FBI, or he always consults with Eve first or tries to bring her in immediately when it happens. But Boxer's bosses don't do that, and that really bugs me big time. So, we start out with Lindsay going for a walk with Martha. And for those of you who are familiar with the series, Martha is her dog. And she's out jogging, and Jill is with her. And they go jogging, and they're looking at some nice houses or whatever when the house explodes right in front of them. So, and then Lindsay goes in and she rescues a little boy who we never hear about again. And then we see Claire. The story is told from just a few different points of view. And at least one of the things I like about this one compared to the J.A. Jans books is that each point of view is a separate chapter. Whereas the J.A. Jans books, you'll hear me, Fire and Ice, Partner in Crime, and The Bones one I just did. The first two were with Joanna Brady. This one's with Brandon Walker. And I don't like the way Jans does it because, well, I know who J.P. Beaumont is, so I can hear his voice if I've done the audiobooks. So I can see when it changes from JP to Brandon, but I don't like the fact that she does it all in one chapter. I would prefer the characters each, like this one does, and some of my other authors do. When they switch point of views, the point of view gets their own chapter. And I don't like that J.A. Jans was mixing them up like that. But anyways, back to Third Degree. While Lindsay is doing the bomb thing, Claire, we have a moment with Claire and her husband. It's a little private moment. You can read on it. And then we go back to Lindsay and the bomb situation. Morton Lightower's was house was bombed. He was deemed an enemy of the people. Let the voice of people be heard. And the killer signs himself August Spies. And what did I do with that paper? Okay. So the third degree is a term used in law to describe unlawful methods of coercing an individual to confess to criminal offense by overcoming his or her free will through the use of psychological or physical violence. I'm still not sure what that has to do with this, but we will get a little more. So Lindsay goes in and she rescues the boy, who we never hear from again. But they also learn that there was a baby in-house, but the baby was not found. So the child is missing, and they go looking for the killer. Then the killer gets his own chapter, and he's got a couple of synonyms, nom de plumes. He goes by different names. And they have a news conference. Then the chief calls. I wrote the chief calls Boxer because that's what the book said. But then when Boxer gets on the phone, it's Cindy. And Cindy's like, I really needed to talk to you, so I pretended to be the chief's secretary. So then Boxer goes to the morgue just to talk to Claire and do the autopsy thing. And she had a date that's off stage. One of my authors says that when it occurs in the book, it's on stage, and when it occurs not in the book that it's told about as already happened, it's off stage. And she's kidded about that, but she says it didn't go well. And then we get scenes of the au pair who saved the child from the bombing because she knew it was going to happen because she was part of it. And there's some scenes with her. And then Boxer goes meets Jacoby. They go to meet with the legal officer and do some other things there. So Boxer wants Jill to get a warrant to search Hightower's records because Hightower's people claim confidentiality. And Jill says, why don't you use Cindy? So Cindy writes an article in the paper, and the people cave, and they tell her once they cave that they had received threatening letters prior. And Lindsay's like, you received threatening letters, and the letters were XYZ, and you didn't come forward? You just thought they were crackpots? And they look really quite serious letters. And they have some more things. I really don't know. There are some more deaths. There are several deaths in the books by several various methods. There's also some bombing. And I wanted to point out, if I can find the page, because it's deep in the book. Please let me have written it down. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I wrote it down. It also turns out that Jill, our assistant district attorney, is a victim of domestic abuse. Her husband has been abusing her for a very long time, and her 3 gal pals never knew. And all of a sudden, they start to see some bruising on Jill. And Lindsay is very, very concerned about this. And with a little bit of support from Lindsay, Jill tells her husband to move out, and she has the locks changed. And that's a very good step. So often in Eve Dallas's books, Rourke has created Dacus, a place for women to go. And there are places, but I think it's a lot of brainwashing. that women are led to believe that it's their fault, that they didn't do this right or they didn't do that right, and sometimes it's not. It could be the man too, but most of the time it's the ladies, and it's just horrible to hear about these things that happen, and why when the opportunity presents itself that these women are too scared or too afraid to seek help. And if you are, seek help. Definitely seek help. Friends, someone you can trust, you know, try something. Do anything. Just leave. Get help. So I wanted to mention one of the things of so Lindsay does a bunch of research. So there's this group, and I guess I should do this better than this. I'm not doing this very well, and I very much apologize, and I hope you are still with me up to this stage. But there's this group, and they labeled themselves August Spies. And I didn't write it's 40. We have a new visitor, and Joe Molinari, Department of Homeland Security. Joseph P. Molinari, Deputy Director of Homeland Security. And a little spoiler here, he becomes a little bit of a love interest for Lindsay. But this group is going after rich guys. They're going after rich companies because, and it's true, and there are a lot of people. Why I'm an advocate for free health insurance. I would love to have free health insurance. But not only free, but no restrictions. You hear stories all the time about people that need treatment for XYZ, but the health insurance company said no, they won't pay for it. Or someone's going to die because the health insurance won't pay for it, or they won't help. Or you always hear these horror stories. And that's a little bit what this is about. This is about seeking revenge on those companies by killing the CEOs or anybody important in charge, blaming them for the deaths of others, because it's their fault. They run these companies. They're raking in billions and billions of dollars, but there's also millions of people dying. And it's a shame that people who can do stuff don't care. And they could say they care, but they don't. If they really cared, they would actually do something about it. And it's too much. It's a money situation. It's a financial situation. It's the health insurances. It's the hospitals, administrations. They've got to pay their staff. They've got to pay their bills. They deal with malpractice and all that kind of stuff. And there's so much legal stuff bound up with it. But there are countries out there, I think it's Denmark, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that does free health insurance. And it's just, it would be nice if everybody was treated equally, that people could seek the treatments and medications they need on all levels. Not just the billionaire can afford the medicine, but Joe Schmo on the street can afford it too. But that's never going to happen. So this group, like I said, they're seeking revenge for incidents. They're going after people that have killed people by their greediness, by their inability. They say no, denied, coverage denied, or other acts. So there's a lot of that in here. So I had to research because I wanted to know. And so thank you, Wikipedia. August Vincent Theater Spies was an American upholsterer, radical labor activist, and newspaper editor. He was an anarchist. Spies was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder following a bomb attack on police in an event remembered as the Haymarket affair. Spies was one of 4 who were executed in the aftermath of the event. Um, when the Spies settled in Chicago, where he became an upholsterer, involving himself in trade union activities due to the injustices he witnessed. Spies joined the Social Labor Party in 1877. He emerged as a leader of the Socialist Labor Party. This faction provoked a split in the party by parading through the streets in military uniforms and shouldering muskets. After the English-speaking section of the SLP attempted to combine with the reformist Greenback Labor Party, Spies helped engineer a takeover of the party's executive committee and ousted the compromisers. And there are some other things going on there. And then he was speaking at a rally at the McCormick Harvesting Machine Plant in 1886. He advised the striking workers to hold together, to stand by their union, or they would not succeed. Well planned and coordinated, the general strike to this point have remained largely nonviolent. When the end of the workday bell sounded, however, a group of workers surged to the gates to confront the strikers. Despite calls by Spies and the workers to remain calm, gunfire erupted as police fired on the crowd. In the end, 2 McCormick workers were killed, although some newspapers' accounts say there were 6 fatalities. Spies would later testify, "I was indignant. I knew from experience from the past that this butchering of people was done for the purpose of defeating the 8-hour movement." People wanted to change the workday to 8 hours. Well, some workdays are 8 hours, but some jobs are longer than that. Every job in the world is different. But this was more during the labor, sweatshops and stuff like that, where conditions were horrendous. And apparently, they really didn't have much evidence, but he was convicted and hanged. So the whole book, the guy that's doing this stuff in the book is claiming Spies is his name. Spies is his hero. He's I'm trying to find what it says, and I can't find what it says. I wrote it down, and I can't find it, and I'm sorry. But they're a political group, and let me see something for a second here before I. Okay, the reasons they were killing this Hightower guy. Your CEO sold 762,000 shares of his company stock holding, making totaling $3 million. On that same day, some 256 of your own shareholders lost money, making their net return negative 87%. 35,000 children of the world died from starvation. 11,000 people in this country died from diseases that were deemed preventable with the proper medical care, but they didn't get it because the health insurance said no. The same Wednesday, 44 million mothers brought babies into the conditions of poverty and homeless across the world. In the past 24 months, you have sold off almost 600 million of your own company stock and purchased homes in Aspen and France. And that's the start of their rant throughout the book. They write some more letters, but that's basically it. That they're mad at. Sorry. They're basically mad at the world, because there's been so many movies. Was it Denzel Washington a few years back that did that when his child needed some life-saving surgery and they were denied, and he went bonkers and got guns. I don't remember the whole plot of it, but that was a few years ago. But it's an interesting book. It's a easy, quick read. The chapters are very short, very, very short. Sometimes only a paragraph, sometimes a page and a half, sometimes 2 pages. Cindy plays a crucial role in her chronicle investigation. She comes up with a really good lead. Oh, I guess that would be kind of spoiling the. But Cindy's one of the ones that finds the people and finds what happened in the book. What is it? One of the guys is the professor, and Lindsay was using him. Oh yeah. So the professor says on May 1st, 1886, there was a massacre labor demonstration up Michigan Avenue, the greatest gathering of labor to the point in history of the United States. 80,000 workers, women, and children too. To this day, May Day is celebrated as labor's official holiday around the globe. Everywhere, of course, but in the United States. The demonstration was peaceful, Lamar says, and over the next couple of days, more and more workers went out on strike and rallied. Then on the third day, the police fired into the crowd. Protesters were killed. The next day, another demonstration was organized at Haymarket Square, Randolph and Pine Street. Angry speeches blasted the government. The mayor ordered the cops to disperse. That's basically what I read. One of the police needed scapegoats, so they rounded up 8 labor leaders, some of whom were not even there that day. Where is this heading? One of them was a teacher named August Spies. They tried and hanged them all by the neck until dead. Later on, Spies was shown not to have even been at Haymarket. He said as he stood on the scaffold, "If you think by hanging us you can stamp out the labor movement, then hang us. Let the people be heard." So it's interesting. I'm sorry if I got too political for you here, but we'll have to read the book and find out more about August Spies and what the groups, how they worship him and see him as their defuncto deceased leader, and how they're only carrying out his wishes to make life better for humans by killing them all. That doesn't really make sense, does it? But anyways, please check it out, The Third Degree. Please like and subscribe. I hope I didn't bore you. My co-host just passed out cold. My other co-host just passed out cold. They're sleeping today. So thank you for hitting the like and subscribe. I hope you have a good day. Thank you.